All right. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to the world, to YouTube, to everyone who's checking us out at one point or another. Just want to say thank you, especially if you're watching after the fact. If you're not watching this live, I do appreciate you taking the time. And if you aren't watching this live, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about what I'm about to talk about. It's this I've kind of broached this subject a little bit before. Hey, what's up, Trey? Ayo, it's Treyo. What up, yo, Professor Savage said, I was just thinking about you. You were on MSK's channel the other day, and I was like, you know who I haven't seen in forever? That motherfucker. So hope you're doing well. What's up, Madhouse? Good to see you. Little old me, yeah. I was thinking about you. I think about everybody. So I miss y'all. I sound a little quieter than normal. Weird. Well, I'll do my best to speak up. Oh, really? Well, hopefully it's a good job change. So kind of what I want to talk about, and I knew, for better or for worse, Trey's here, and he'll have some things to say about it. And luckily, I'm driving, so I won't be able to see everything he says, but I'm sure he will disagree heavily on what I'll talk about. Yeah, what's up, Dev? What am I doing? I do this all the time. All right, I'm a pro at this. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. And actually, I'm glad Dev's here because maybe he'll also agree. Maybe he'll call me a fucking moron for what I'm about to say. I think the problem that I'm seeing with game development, with game development, with entertainment, and everything in this sphere, especially in the commentating space, there's this idea that it's just like, what I've come to realize is that they just want to win. It's not about progress towards a greater goal. It's just about winning. And I think that's where we're losing. That's where we're losing. And this is where I know that Trey will be like, no, you're wrong, bro. You're wrong. We just got to win. The long game is progress towards something else. The winning goal is just, hey, I'm better than you. I'm right. You're wrong. The end. There's no understanding in that. There's no understanding in winning. It's just about getting your dunk and leaving. No, not specifically. It's in general. In general, I think here's I guess the long and the short, and this deals more with so I'm starting to just see and observe post Game Awards where Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet is announced, and there's dozens of videos about how it's woke trash, it's a dumpster fire, it's this, it's that. And I can't help but think this isn't about winning anything. Or I'm sorry, it's not about progress towards a greater entertainment sphere. It's about winning in the moment, collecting dollars. Right? It's all brain rot at the end of the day. It's all a bunch of this is I'm just gonna jump to a conclusion. Now some of it before people really start to lose their shit, realize that I do know, or at least I know, that two things can be true simultaneously. We can have discourse surrounding a topic, like bad game development or woke companies pushing ESG, all that crap, but also understand that most of the people talking about all this stuff don't really want a solution, because if if they do get one, that's the end of their career. The bald girl character is some evidence pointing towards it being woke, but it's not necessarily the case. It could be a good game, even if it's less likely. I hope it's good. Yeah. If you mean do I want to see the games I want to be made being made and not Witcher 4? Yes. Yeah, and again, these are all valid conversations. But like in some respect, Dev, like I think the idea of like a bald Asian girl comes up on the screen, and yeah, the Porsche branding was cringe. Absolutely, I saw that and I was like, oh, come on. Again, all sort of like different aspects that we could talk about fairly, and this like sort of lowbrow, it's woke, it's a dumpster fire. It's the same thing every time. It's the same thing. And the problem becomes you're not criticizing it on its merits. You're not actually criticizing it based on like gameplay. What we saw at the Game Awards for that particular game was proof of concept. It's proof of concept, right? Like that's all that is. It's them saying we have an idea and here it is in a mostly like here it is, like we have something to show you about it. And that but again, I guess I've always been of the opinion, Dev, that it's okay to comment on branding, marketing in that spot. All like criticisms absolutely can push things in a direction that will make it better. Sonic the Hedgehog was a good example that people were like, no way, like what did you do? And maybe a lot of the same things happen, but A, there's people that'll listen, but B, there's a way to approach all this stuff that isn't just this is a dumpster fire. You know nothing about the project. And again, that's why this is about winning. It's not about progressing to better games, better entertainment. I just want to win, i.e. make a shitload of money by not actually presenting a solution to the problem. Yeah, in some regards. I think largely we've shot ourselves in the foot so many times that we no longer have a leg to stand on. If that's a fair thing to say. Like people in the commentary sphere have just sort of played the same card in much the same way the woke left have played the card. That now it's just like, well, we're not going to listen to that because you only scream the same thing over and over again. The game comes out is actually really good, but it has a lot of woke politics and aesthetics. What do you think people in React YouTube will say? That's a great question, because like I think it'll ultimately, I think this is something that even Veilguard sort of like fell victim to, is that there was a lot of like sort of brain rot dialogue and identity politics in there, but the game systems were good, but that's where I think that's the problem, is that game systems, it's great that we have good solid gameplay loops, battle systems, whatever, but you really need all of it on some level. Yeah, Starfield could absolutely be again, none of these games, especially the ones that are if we're going to call them woke, they're not beyond reproach and they're not beyond criticism. The point I'm making is like how the criticism is pointed. Yo, Professor Savage Dad with the 8 months. To be fair, great gameplay can be ruined by the message. Yeah. And that's what I mean. I think the unfortunate part here is that great gameplay can be ruined by bad messaging, because that's what you're hearing. It's like nowadays, that's what you're hearing. Before voice acting was a thing in games, or like in Final Fantasy VII, like when games had to be read, it was a little bit easier to breeze over that and just concentrate on the actual game systems being fun. But if it's so heavy-handed that you're just like, it's just constantly beating you over the head, then it distracts you from the game. Because again, and there's people that have made this point, and I have to agree that a lot of the reason people play games is to escape real world politics, real world issues. They're not going to another fantasy world. Like almost every video game to some extent is a power fantasy, right? It's just about where that power is. But if it's about, I don't know. There probably are people who want to play these games that are like this. I don't think the majority of gamers are there. Remember Hogwarts Legacy and people buying multiple copies because it wasn't woke, and then you get trans character and lesbian couple. Yeah. Professor Savage Dad, currently you are writing for the chat. I can't read any of that. Sorry, I can read this one. Guys, if you can, smash the like button for me. It might push us out to a few other people. If you like the topic and like what we're saying. Yeah, man, I worry that the change that we can exact on the industry is rooted in real thought, like solid thought process and like objective like bullet points. Like you need to be able to break something down. Like PoE 2 is a great example of this. Like there's a multitude of reasons of why that game is just phenomenal. From a development point of view, it's really good. From a technical standpoint, gameplay loop, it's all amazing. The criticisms you can levy against it are that it's certainly difficult, but we're talking the difficulty scale, which is a couple of lines of code or a slider somewhere that you can change. What we are currently witnessing is a group of people advocating for change based only on what they claim to be against instead of what they want. Thank you. This boils it down pretty well. That distills it into a pretty solid. If you could distill it into one sentence or two sentences, whatever that was, that's right. What's up, Krabby? I don't know. Overall, people, commentators, we have immense power. One, from a monetary standpoint, right? You vote with your dollar. If you really don't like these companies, don't invest in what they do, right? Don't buy any of their games, any of that. That's the quickest and most solid way to exact some meaningful change. beyond that, if you are going to invest in them and review them, you need to come at it with criticism that makes sense. Right now, the only criticism you can levy against that is your own bias against a bald Asian person. I don't like that character design. Well, why don't you like that character design? Well, because of this. But when you see, so what I see when I see that game, I see an action hack and slash game that it will likely be. Kind of like I almost was like going towards like maybe it'll be like a Jedi Survivor type thing. Oh man, I just Tracer. I think because you had such a run of games being ran by the Druckmans of the world, we're not going to have change until those people exit the industry. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think the more that these companies lose money, over these design choices, technical choices, the less they're going to be able to actually make games like this. And, you know, and quite honestly, my recommendation is to be cautiously optimistic on these things. Well, and then again, the solution would be, Trey, that I think we need to. So the solution is likely to de-invest. But if you're going, like, again, if people are going to levy criticism against the companies, like, it should be solid. If you're going to play the game, play the game. Now, I can't live my life that way. Cautiously pessimistic sounds like a stress headache that I don't want. I like video games, so I will do my best to be cautious and optimistic on a title, enjoy what I can out of it, and then be critical of the things that just don't work. That, for me, that works much better. People can certainly, act however they want on that, but I think constantly approaching everything with pessimism. Well, it's one of the reasons like my last video that I did about Alien Romulus and Aliens was like when all you do is approach things from the negative angle, that's what you're going to concentrate on. I can sit and I can watch Home Alone 2, Aliens, Alien, and I can approach it in a negative way and find everything wrong with it and just trash it. If that's how you want to approach games and movies, TV, then that's your prerogative, but it's hard to see the forest through the trees when you do that. We tend to nitpick the things that we don't like, and while that's fine, we often get caught up in things that just don't really matter. And I'm not saying that nitpicking the message is bad. Like, there's parts of the message, if we're calling it that are insufferable and take away from the actual fun of a game. But we need rational minds. If you're playing a game, play the game, tell me about the game. If you're gonna call the game a dumpster fire, you better have a damn good reason that it's a dumpster fire. You will always be miserable if you focus on that. Yeah, I mean, there are ways to find, there are good aspects of bad movies and bad entertainment. Like, and we all know this, and for some reason, like, can't admit it. Bad movies oftentimes are very entertaining. you go in optimistic, then you may overlook glaring problems. Maybe. But that seems cautiously pessimistic of optimism. They had one trailer, zero gameplay, copy-pasted 20-year-old university social studies dialogue, uglifying women, comments turned off. Okay, so, and again, I don't find that woman ugly. Just like the Siri thing. The Siri thing is stupid. That's not an ugly woman. And if you think it's an ugly woman, you're fucking crazy. Like, I will call you crazy to the day I die. A battle-hardened woman? Fuck yeah, dude. You send that shit my way all day. All day. Because in that trailer, I see a feminine woman, but I see a battle-scarred fucking badass bitch, dude. Like, people are fucking crazy if they look at that. Okay, so the angle they posted of her, like, looking up like that, shit-ass angle. Shit angle. There's other angles in that trailer that they show where she looks fucking good, where she has a jawline. I honestly, and maybe it's a stretch, but when I look at the character model of the heretic prophet, I don't see an ugly woman. Like, I'm sorry, you might not like a shaved head. Now Laura Croft, on the other hand, like I can agree to somewhat that there was a bit of uglification in that she's blocked. She doesn't have like a female form the way she did. It's not curvy in the same way. Like, she was a curvy woman at her inception. Now she's kind of this, like, she's like a stocky, no curves, like built like a man. Like, men don't have curves, they are straight. Like, the only way we have curves is if you get giant lats. That's how we get curves. Oh, I didn't notice that sketch, and I didn't go into that trailer knowing anything about it. I just saw, hey, there is a trailer for this space game. The criticisms I would levy was the product placement in it. It's like weird product placement in there. The song, which I consider the product placement. But I didn't see any gameplay. I saw no gameplay. Barely said anything. I like the story of a black character designer trying to make good-looking black women, but they come back as grocery store aunties. You know what game actually? I'm excited for that that game that takes place in the South. Epic Mike was telling me that, like, there is issues with it. Again, I think it's a cautious pessimism type thing, or even just blatant pessimism, which I'm just trying to avoid. It doesn't mean that people can't be like that. It doesn't mean I don't like Mike. I fucking love Mike. Mike's the fucking man. I like a lot that I criticize, but I'm able to criticize them because, well, one, I would consider them a friend, and I would hope that what I'm saying they can take it and not be a bitch about it. I know Mike, and I know he could. If he and I were in the same room, we'd have a fucking hearty discussion about it. But I'm excited to play that game. I can't remember the name of it, but it takes place in the South, and it seems to me like a sort of 3D platform or Metroidvania type thing, where you're discovering your powers, and there's a sort of like evil presence that is sort of taking over things. Looks like it's weird, like black sludge or something. I don't know. You have to judge this stuff harshly, though, Shags, because if you don't, then you get Blizzard. Here's the thing. You can criticize this stuff harshly, 'But, like, people aren't doing that. People aren't doing that. Like, 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 people People aren't being surgical about this, and that's what we need to be. If you want some sort of change in this, you can't just be the hammer and everything's the nail. Like, it's not going to work. Everyone's tried that, and it's not working. And they're easily discrediting people who are actually really smart. A lot of these guys who are in the commentary industry and space are smart people. They know the industry, but all they can scream now is woke and dumpster fire and whatever the fucking term is. It's all tired, like this tired anti-woke vernacular that's working against them. That's the issue, because it's just about winning. My side needs to win. And I'm going to take a sledgehammer to everything because that's the only way to do it. No. I don't for a second believe that. People aren't dumb, but they need good reason to take a sledgehammer to something. So sometimes you need the surgical tools to convince someone that the sledgehammer is the proper way to take them down. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This company is beyond saving because look at all this. And not just look at all this woke stuff. That is, again, it's lowbrow. That is the Neanderthal version of commentary. You need the Homo sapien version of it. This game, all these games are bad because of this game system didn't work, this didn't work, bad choices, dialogue was awful, all this stuff was extraneous, didn't move anything forward, superfluous, this and that. That's what you have to, that is the way. Then that's a people problem. Algorithms cater to the lowest common denominator. Smart critics are suppressed. That's not an excuse to be retarded. It's not an excuse to be retarded. Because something caters to a lower form of intelligence doesn't mean that you have to stoop to that lower form of intelligence in order to exact change. I refuse to believe that. That is a really, that's part of the problem. Algorithms can be retrained, and maybe that's it. And I've said this, and am I part of the problem in some respect, because I don't actually do what I say, like when it comes to the commentary stuff, that like often I don't have a broad library of me breaking everything down. I know that it's the way through. My solution is going to be make my own video game that's better than what's out there, right? Like, okay, I know what I don't like, I know what I'm not seeing. I'm in the process of working with people to make a game. That's how I'm going to approach it. But I don't believe for 1 second that we should rationalize brain rot content because that's what the algorithm puts forward. And quite honestly, what's interesting is that TikTok's algorithm is far better than YouTube's, regardless of what you want to think about it. TikTok's algorithm is 1,000 times better because there are people on there making nuanced commentary that isn't just, this is woke, and it's going viral. YouTube might be a different story, but I know TikTok, you can get your message out there much faster that way. Okay, what would you put in the trailer to sell your game? I think a teaser trailer as a proof of concept is totally fine. Like, I think showing what they showed was great. I think the product placement is in poor taste and kind of cringe. Some people don't think that, but I don't like it's one of the reasons I don't love Michael Bay movies is because they become ads for companies, and I just don't care for that. I think it's great to have a teaser trailer like they did, because what they showed me was, okay, this is going to be like, it looks like it's going to be like a hack and slash type of game, or maybe like a Jedi Survivor type game, or Lost Order type of game. So you do the teaser at the Gamer Awards, and then like 3 to 6 months later, give people a gameplay trailer, so you can have a little bit of cinematics leading up to it, and then jump into your battle systems. Like, show people what the game is doing. How would you represent the hack and slash game in the trailer? Well, I mean, people do it all the time. You play the game as it is currently in its stage of development. A lot of times they'll show branches that are a little bit farther along, and they're obviously in a very controlled environment. You kind of saw that with Path of Exile 2 as well. But show, it might be like without a HUD, like you might not have a HUD in that version, so it looks a little bit more cinematic. I would definitely show like what the gameplay looks like. Show me the inventory system real quick. Maybe show me a couple sample pieces of gear within that system, if that's what you have. I do think, and really the difference with a lot of these. No, I know that, Krabby, and that's part of my point with that trailer, is that everyone was engaging in this sort of like vitriolic commentary on it without having any base of knowledge on it. They saw that it was made by Naughty Dog and that Druckmann was involved with it, and then they just said, okay, this is a dumpster fire. And it's like, well, you haven't even played the game. Like, you saw a bald Asian woman, so you thought, okay, this is just like everything was manufactured in their head. And I keep hearing, oh, but Shags, like, they tell us time and again they hate us. Oh, shut the fuck up. What they tell you time and again is that they're bad at making video games. That's about it. But that doesn't mean that this one will be bad. Again, call me naive for being cautiously optimistic on it, but I think that's fine. Wow, ooh, that's hot. That's hot coffee. God damn. Well, Krabby, my issue. Let them not make games for us. Okay, here's my thing. Two things can be true at once. Multiple things can be true at the same time. They don't have to make a game for me. Don't let them make a game for me. Fine. Make a game for who they think they should be making a game for, and watch them fail. It's going to be dud after dud if what you say is true. But the people criticizing the game could absolutely criticize what they've done in the past, but we're not doing it in the way that I believe is going to exact any meaningful change in the long run. We got to this point because we're here. We got to this point. I don't think it has to do with us letting them in. I think these people, this generation, has felt a certain way about life. They've been institutionalized by, even further, by their colleges, and then they got into these industries, and then they wanted to tell their story. It turns out their story is not compelling because they don't understand basic storytelling. There's the problem. There's the criticism. They weren't taught how to write stories properly. That's one. Or maybe they were taught how to write stories and they thought they were smarter how they could do better. But we're realizing, and we see that that's not possible. It's not good enough to just say something is woke. This game is bad because the writing is woke. What does that mean? First of all, define what you mean as woke. Second, how are those elements placed within that story or the broader narrative? And don't just tell me about the story, tell me about the game systems as well. Why doesn't this game system work? Why is it not fun to play this over and over again for 50 hours or whatever you're meant to play? It's just not good enough anymore to say this is woke. And every single one of you should be sick of it, because what does it even mean? A dumpster fire? Okay, tell me why it's a dumpster fire. I am genuinely interested, and if someone's right, if any of those people are right of why it's a dumpster fire through like real reasons, now I have nothing to fight. Oh, it's woke because of A, B, C, D, and E? Got you. And that does fit your definition of woke. Okay, I get it. Perfect. You're right. Or, oh, you can't define it? Oh, you can't find. Oh, you didn't even play it? Oh, you didn't read that comic? Oh, okay. Well then now it doesn't mean anything. This is also how you filter out frauds. And none of this is crazy talk. All of this is from the rational brain of an individual who just wants to see good criticism and positive change within a couple of industries that I happen to float between. I want to see better movies made. I want to see better TV shows made and video games made. And I want the right people there to do it. And am I going to do my part? Absolutely. We're watching all gaming content except anything about PoE2 and grunking. Yo, PoE2 is fire, dude. And I think I'm gonna write up a video that kind of detailing why PoE2 is like a masterclass in video game development. PoE2, like just as a primer for that, PoE2 is a literal masterclass on how you make a video game and make it successful over like a 10-year period. Like, this is a company who listens to their audience, who makes changes based on that, and puts out, and remember, their game, their Path of Exile 2 has been out for just over a week and a half it's been out. And it's already probably, like, I would love to see the total play time on that game. Myself alone I've put in just over 60 hours on that. And like most of the people on my friends list have put in 40 plus hours. I understand your point of the extreme anti-woke mob mentality is the same as woke. But right now, the trailer is textbook woke, and that was their choice to release that trailer. Yeah, I guess I'm actually interested in why you think it's textbook woke, because again, it's hard to define anything as textbook woke from that trailer. If you're talking about a bald Asian woman, like, I don't know if that's enough to convince me, but I'm willing to hear it, man. Like, I'm not above hearing your criticism of it. I think the lack of people playing games they're supporting as non-woke. 2 is a literal masterpiece. No, PoE 2 is separate. It's early access right now, so it's not free like Path of Exile is. It's $30 to play. So if you want to like beta test it and like see it through its development, you could pay the $30. For me, I didn't put in any time in Path of Exile 1, so this is my like foray into it, and I'm learning the battle systems and the crafting systems, or the gambling systems as they are. Games I love, do it right. I want to play war game. Praise war games, so European installation. Yeah, PoE 2 is fantastic. To release a game in the state that it's in as like an indie dev, I mean they're a big team, but like I wonder if you could even call them indie devs at this point, just because like they're much bigger. But they patch things, they listen to their audience. The game is extremely playable in its current state. I mean, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy to see how a team like Grinding Gear Games can make Path of Exile, and then you have like AAA developers putting out slop that is like X-Defiant. These recent Assassin's Creed games. It's like again, there's real criticism to be levied against these companies who just don't know don't know what people want. Like they don't like. I'm not convinced. It would be really hard to convince me that what people want is superior graphics. Because Path of Exile is not a game with like high graphic fidelity and like you don't like. I'm running that game currently on a GTX 970 because my graphics card died last night, and it runs fine. So like when people try and say like, oh, we need to push the boundaries of like hyper realism in games, like you're missing the point. That's not what people want. And I know that the audience is different from like a first person shooter to something like Path of Exile, but some of the most popular games on Steam are pixel art. One of the best selling games of all time, Terraria, sold like millions and millions of copies. It's a pixel art game, which just goes to show you that gamers don't even need dialogue. They just need a place to play. Like I said, in some fashion, games are just people wanting to execute their own power fantasy. That's all it is. Give them a fun power fantasy to execute and to do it over and over again. Don't make it so monotonous that you want to like delete your System32 file, but don't make it like so unfair that it just breaks the gameplay loop. Professor Savage said, if you like ARPGs, if you like Diablo style games that do have a bit of a grind, but like make you feel powerful and let you experiment with builds, then Path of Exile 2 is something you'll want to play. It is a lot of fun. Ooh, steel beams. Right. I didn't even think of Valve. Valve really is the perfect example. And like even Counter-Strike to an extent. Counter-Strike has everything to do with like almost their physics engine and nothing to do with graphics. Like their graphics have gotten better, but like their graphics aren't better than Call of Duty. Like all like Call of Duty keeps trying to push this, like, look how realistic it is, look how fast you can move and slide and blah blah blah. When like Counter-Strike was always just like, yeah, well, we're gonna make a shooter that's even more competitive, but it's based around physics and who's quickest. Like it. Minecraft is another great example. One of the best-selling games of all time, if not the best-selling game of all time, is literal like pixels. It's all it is yeah. I mean, that game can get taxing on your hardware because of how much it loads at a time and all that. But people want good games. Tell me why a game is good. Tell me why a game is bad. But give me real reasons. This isn't just about winning. The real win is a progressive change over time. Like, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get back overnight. And we're not going to get back to anything. It's going to be... I mean, you guys realize that, right? And I think there's this almost like fallacy in people's heads that all of a sudden games were horrible. All of a sudden entertainment was horrible. No, we got here incrementally, just how we're going to get back. And we're not even going to get back to that. It's just going to be something a little bit different. You got to move forward. Moving forward is how this is going to go. And it's going to be a little bit different than you realize. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it can be shaped in a way. It can be shaped by the wrong people, or it can be shaped by the right people. I think the course we're on now is not going to be helpful. It's not enough to say this is woke. We need real reasons. Like I just want an intelligible answer on it. You're going to tell me something's woke, define woke, and then make sure your reasons fit within that. Breath of the Wild as well, giving players total freedom to craft resolutions and problem solve their puzzles where four different friends can have four different outcomes. Yeah. There's so much potential. There's so much potential in the commentary space for like real intelligent conversation. And some people are having it, there's no doubt. It's not common enough. If you aren't playing newer games, you aren't going to know what is actually happening. Yeah. No, I think he's absolutely right. You have to play these games, especially if you're in this space talking about entertainment. Watch it, criticize it. None of these creators, directors, dev teams, CEOs, whatever, are beyond criticism. They absolutely need the criticism, but like, don't be a retard. Don't just be the sledgehammer, trying to make, surgical moves. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And that's what I see all too often. I see creators just headbutting everything. My 2 cents is always play it for yourself. If you really want to talk about it to the fullest. Yeah. And before people like, I don't know. I'm sure most people won't make it this far, but like, it's important to realize that when I mention creators and this and that, I'm not attacking any one specific person. I'm not singling anyone out. I have nothing but the utmost respect for most people in this space who work hard to cultivate their paycheck every month. And I said, if you're working hard, you're working hard. My opinion on it is that we could do better as in total to, as a whole. in how we criticize these things and how detailed we are with it. And I know that a lot of times that's not, like, this stuff is time sensitive and it's hard to put things out in a reasonable way, quickly and efficiently. Not everyone has the time to sit down and do this and be detailed about it. But I think there are those who are capable of doing it and should do it. I'm attacking a whole class of people. I don't understand. Yeah, I'm attacking a whole class of people. Like I said, we can set them up. We talk, Trey. I think if all you're saying is something is woke in a dumpster fire, if your explanation is because it's a bald-haired Asian woman, I think you deserve to be criticized. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that there's huge potential on a lot of change, and I think we're missing the mark. I think we're missing the mark on a lot of this, and we don't need to. But I don't know, man. You know what? For once, I'm just gonna say, like, I don't think I'm wrong here, and I don't think my attacks are without merit. I think that people in the commentary space need to shift. I think our attempts at headbutting our problems, I think we tried them and it didn't work. And I think now that we're in a different space, and I think that as people start to ignore, and we're not taken seriously, I think you need to find a different way to make your point. Not even a different way. Just be. All I'm saying is be more detailed. Don't be so simplistic in your criticism of a thing. And I can even certainly do better in how I break some of my stuff down. I don't do it at the frequency a lot of people do. So my learning curve is a bit different than others. Those who have the time and spend every day doing this, well, they have the formula. They have the audience. They have the potential. Again, my path is going to be more on the make a game that's better route. I'm not going to make a game that's infused with dialogue that's cringe, product placement. That just doesn't sound good to me. I'm going to, there's no point. I'm not going to make a game that has identity politics in it. It's just going to be a fun game to play so people can unwind, because I think that's what they want. I think people want to unwind at the end of the day. That trailer I thought was fine. As a reveal, I don't know. I'm of two minds on it, because I didn't see enough, I guess, was my, it's a teaser, but I didn't see enough of what it was. I was able to, you could kind of deduce what it was from, based on what I saw, but yeah, I guess I wanted a little bit more. And like I said, the product placement in it with the song and the Porsche thing was eh. My guess would be that we're playing as, I see the white creeping in on that beard. Oh, dude, there's plenty of white in there, dude. Plenty of white. What would the game be about? My guess is that she plays a much larger role on some intergalactic thing. She becomes some sort of beacon of hope or like something to dismantle a power structure would be my guess. If I'm oversimplifying it in the parlance of the woke, or the anti-woke rather, or however, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I think she is going to end up being someone who probably acquires some skills that allow her to take down some intergalactic power structure would be my guess. Which you can say you don't like it. But I mean, that's so many of these games. So you're basing your guess on the same amount of information that everyone else did. How is your point more valid? I didn't say it was more valid. I just said you asked me a question and I answered it. I just like if I'm guessing, like maybe that's it. I didn't say it was going to be bad based on that, because there's lots of games out there that like that's the story. You're just sort of like a nobody orphan type thing who is like, maybe she's a smuggler or something, and then gets somehow caught up and attached to someone more central to a more intergalactic or global thing. So when's the next video? God damn it, Mephisto. Hold me accountable. But yeah, my point's not more valid than anyone else. It's just you asked me what I think it's about, and without any information really, like I don't know, maybe that's it. I could be totally wrong. It could be about, an intergalactic drive-through attendant, and she gets sick of her job and steals her boss's Porsche and goes out for a drive. That could be it. No idea. But that's the problem with that trailer, is that it really offers no information other than she has a glowing red sword, and it looks like she's capable of fighting. So that's if I were to make a video on it, I could break down my dislike of product placement in that video, not really knowing like who this person is. I don't even think, do we have a name? I don't even think we've learned a name in that. I could be wrong though. And beyond that, she sees a funny thing in space and then she flies towards it. Like, why? Usually when you see things you don't know and that are unknown, you might avoid them. She went directly into it. Interesting choice. What is this sword? Why don't I know anything about that? No gameplay could mean they're hiding bad gameplay. Could still be good, could be bad. Depends more on how the devs and publisher acts then. Yeah, again, I think being cautiously optimistic here there's nothing wrong with it. Being cautiously pessimistic that the reason we haven't seen gameplay is because it's bad is, again, you're going to default to seeing the worst in a product. The point is shift that, turn that around. Cautious optimism leaves room for doubt, but also helps you like maybe think, well, there's a lot that goes into game development. Maybe the combat system isn't ready yet. Maybe what they have right now is the character movement. They're able to go, side to side, around, whatever. Right. Again, and that's why I said, Static, this trailer is proof of concept. This is 100% proof of concept. It's letting investors know, the public know, we have a game, and this is the point it's at. It's a cinematic trailer. We haven't I thought that the very end of that might be like sort of the lead in to where they like, so what you saw was maybe an opening cinematic for the game, and that fight you're about to engage in might lead you right into the gameplay like fade. So a lot of cinematics now, they go from cinematic and they work into the actual like game. Like, does that make sense to you guys? I don't know the exact like wording for it, but my guess is that's where you would see it switch to like you taking control of her and fighting. Yeah, we just don't know. And that's part of, that's part of the fun of a trailer. It's one thing that I wish people would do more. Like, I wish people would do more in movies, is they would tease and then build towards something, especially like the bigger, more epic movies that come out. Krabby Patty says, "Is it fair to say you wanted people not dismiss as woke pure based on the trailer, and to have a positive outlook?" Let me see. What I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't think there's enough in what we saw to say that this was woke. We didn't see enough to praise it. We didn't see enough to also disparage it. Yes, in some regard, I think it's pertinent to change in the industry, that we approach things in a more fair manner, with, again, being cautiously optimistic on things. That doesn't mean all out praising it. It just means you're looking at it with an eye that's not just trying to pick apart everything that's wrong. Because you can still use past experiences to shape what you think of a company, while also, approaching it in a way that's fair, balanced, and, dare I say, optimistic. I know people don't want to, because they feel betrayed, or because they feel like they've been talked down to. And you're probably right, or you may be right, you may be wrong. Again, I think if we're going to progress to a more systemic change in the industry, it's going to be this way. It's going to be levying real criticism, detailed criticism at the developers. Because here's the thing. This is kind of my final thought on it before I have to go into the office. There's people who work at these companies that aren't a part of the problem. They're there, and there's someone I know who's in my community who works at one of these companies, and he understands he works in a woke environment, or what he considers to be a woke environment, and he realizes that his political beliefs are on the outs of everyone else's, except for a small group that he basically works with. So if all we're doing is wishing that these companies would die, there's people who are like feeding their families, like within these companies, have nothing to do with it. I would rather someone nitpick or not nitpick. I would rather see someone pick apart, like real things that are going on that might target a specific individual who's constantly making bad decisions that cause problems for other people, and that cause bad writing, bad storytelling. Like that's what I mean. It's like these, when you're more detailed, when you're more thorough with your criticism of this stuff, there's a more direct line to whose fault it is. Because not everyone within Naughty Dog is woke or bad or trying to trans your kids, if that's what you believe. There's so many reasons something could be bad. There's so many reasons something could be good. And I think our approach, if we're a little bit more fair in that approach, we could really truly make a difference. Because I want to see change. I want to see good games made. I want to see good movies made. That's all. I love y'all. I appreciate you listening to me today. But before you go, on your way out, hit the like button for me. Before you go, hit the like button. Dude, it pisses me off to no end when I see chats and Flash celebrate and say good burn bitch when they hear mass layoffs. Yeah, dude, I'm sure the level designer or animator is part of the woke agenda making bad games. Yeah, that's what I mean, is like there really is innocent people in here that are just like, I just need a paycheck. I have nothing to do with this. I don't care about that. Yeah, or that dislike because the boost views. Yeah, I'm, sorry. Like, I know people do this for a living and they need money, and that's how they're going to keep doing it. But I'm telling you, if you want to see real change, those are the videos that are going to change it. I gotta head out, guys. It's time for work. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later on. Tomorrow we got a special thing coming. I'm going to announce it later today. But tomorrow night is going to be a fun night, a little bit different. Some of you might recognize it, but love y'all. Be good. We'll see you later. Toodles, y'all.